All right, we get going now. Again, thank you for coming. Uh, most of you know me. My name is Ivan Ramirez. I am the construction manager for the Contra Costa Transportation Authority. That's my primary role. We're a small agency, so we have to do some backing up with one another, and that's one of the reasons why I am the project manager for this environmental document contract. So who we are, again, most of you know who we are. We are a self-help county where we collect 0.5% sales tax, and we use the proceeds for transportation projects and programs. So some of the things we do. Right in the middle on the left side is highways. What we do is we build transportation projects on the state highway system, and when we're done, we turn them over to Caltrans because we're not an operator of any facilities. Some of the key players in this project, of course, Randy Wasaki. He stepped out. He was here a minute ago. He's our executive director. Tim Hale, who was in the back, I think also most of you know him. He's our deputy executive director for projects. Again, myself, I'm the project manager for this contract. Chris Cole, he's the project manager, at least as of now, and he's with Cole Management and Engineering, and he's a part of our oversight group. And Abigail Brown, she's here as well. She's the owner of CPM Logistics, and Abigail is very valuable to us because when we put DBE goals that are fairly high, or even if they're not fairly high, just help our contractors and our consultants meet the DBE goals. That's her role, and she does it with multiple agencies, and she has been very helpful to us. So she's here as a valuable resource to you so that you can reach out to her. And are you having any problems or issues reaching the 19% goal, she should be available to do it because we do expect the proposers to meet the goal. Again, DBE goal is at 19%. We're a Measure J, and we like to say that the promises we make to the public, we deliver on those promises. That includes delivering projects on budget and on schedule, or ahead of budget, I should say ahead of schedule on the budget. This project is federally funded, which means that all of us have to meet the requirements of federal aid projects. I will talk about it a little later, but at the authority's option, we are going to allow the winning proposer on this contract to extend their services to the PS&E phase. And when you do that, it's important for you to know that we are a partnering agency with our contractors and our stakeholders, and we expect you to be active during the PS&E and construction phase in responding to any changes or partnering goals that we want to achieve after we have let out the contract. Communication is very important for us. Good news travels fast, but bad news travels faster. So we definitely want to have an atmosphere where we're all communicating transparency, and also we're communicating with all our stakeholders. We aspire to be the owner of choice. In fact, I think we are the owner of choice. That's what we say, we like to say, and we believe it. And we also like to have fun with what we do amongst ourselves, our stakeholders, and with our consultants. So some important dates, you guys are here, but so you know about the conference when the RFP was out, but important deadlines for you. January 30th is the last time in which you can allow, we're going to receive questions at 5 p.m. On the submittal date is February the 6th. We're not going to accept late submittals. We are going to have an interview on February 28th for all the shortlisted firms, and we expect to award the contract at the board meeting of April 17th of this year. So this project is the express lane in the northbound direction along I-680. This project is one strategy out of 7 that the authority is pursuing along with its partners, MTC, Caltrans, and others, to alleviate major congestion along I-680, especially at peak times. So you can see the remaining of the strategies here. There are many, and there's proposals coming out if they already haven't come out for the other strategies that we're following. But for our purposes, we're here at the lower right, at the bottom. That's the Express Lane project. And as part of this Innovate 680, we have created a charter that is shown here on the left. We have a steering committee with the major stakeholders. At this point, I'd like to say it's Caltrans, MTC, CCTA, but we're also receiving input from cities and counties. And down the line, we have the project managers, Caltrans, other partners again, and the bottom are the projects that are part of this Innovate 680 initiative. Limits about the project. Again, along 680, at the south, we're going to be connecting with the existing express lane that was built, I think, a couple of years ago, and they're already functioning. That's our limit at the bottom. On the right is along all the way up to the Benicio Martinez Bridge. And this is along the northbound direction, because in the southbound direction right now, we have a construction contract that is being administered by the authority. And by the time this project goes to construction, we expect the southbound direction to be completed. So again, the reason why we have this contract, we want to have an environmental document for the express lane in the northbound direction. A PSR PDS has been approved by Caltrans. We issue an addendum because originally when we released the RFP, it was just a draft, but we have now the signed document, and you can reach it at Planet Bids. And again, we expect you to get approval, project approval, and environmental document, the PAED, approved by Caltrans and endorsed by the cities of Walnut Creek, Concord, Pleasant Hill, Martinez, Contra Costa County, and the larger community. So out of that PAED document, there were three alternatives that were approved to move forward. One is alternative 1A here, and it's the graphic shows that we're going to have some widening on the right of northbound I-680, some widening on the left, and we're going to also create a counterflow lane in the southbound direction, or this alternative would. Of course, that will have impacts on the southbound direction during non-peak times, but this is one of the alternatives that is going to be contemplated in this phase. Alternative 1B would actually create a closure of the northbound lane. There is a bark column currently for a bridge, and that column it's in the way of having a continuous express lane in the northbound direction. So on the alternatives 1A and 2 that I'm going to talk about in the next slide, the column will remain in place. With alternative 1B, the goal is to remove the column and therefore have a continuous express lane on the northbound direction without having to move into the southbound direction and impact traffic. So alternative 2, the goal here is to reduce the gap. If we do these improvements, it is expected that traffic will improve along the project limits. However, you will still have a gap in the express lane. But over here, we're doing widening on the left side and the right side, but we're also introducing a collector distributor. So there's a large and very busy merging going on, weaving, and by putting the collector distributor, we'll hope to put that traffic to the side and eliminate some of that weaving. There are 5 tasks in the contract. And by the way, I'm going to go fast here. I think that most of you know what the deliverables are. They're shown here on the slides, and they're also shown on the RFP. And you can definitely reference there. But we're gonna, you're going to be managing the project, of course. Create a quality assurance program. You're going to interact with all the agencies, Caltrans, MTC, other stakeholders, to make sure that we are addressing all concerns. And one thing that I'm going to bring up on this slide and the next slide is that the authority is implementing a project controls. We like to have more current information so that we can make necessary adjustments and changes as we see fit. Currently, and that would entail some work on your end, some of the people that work for us on the construction side and some of the ones that are doing some design work for us have implemented this, and this is something that uh, is being done for the authority's benefit. So this is something that you are going to have to do for us. If, as you put together your proposal, you need to really think about if this is going to be too onerous or a hassle for you, and evaluate whether it's something that you still want to pursue. But we're gonna be asking you to do certain things that are outside of what you normally do, as far as how you allocate your resources and how you help us track them. So, and again, we're using a project management software. Currently we're using Clarizen, and it will help us keep track, and each team member will be required to submit their time. Okay, each team member will be required to submit their time, and we might ask some of your subcontractors to do the same. Task number 2, again, all these tasks should be familiar to you. We have data collection and review, project implementation plan, base mapping, develop the alternatives, identify the non-standard geometric features, preliminary design drawings, you need to come up with those, and come up with a preliminary cost estimate. Again, the deliverables are at the bottom of the slide and are also on the RFP for you to reference. Task number 3, we have the environmental scoping, and we need to establish the need and purpose, project description. And again, the deliverables are numerous, and they're on the slide and again on the RFP. I don't want to go over them one by one. Task number 4 is the actual project approval, where you develop the requirements, analysis, agreements, reports, assessments to obtain approval. You're going to provide an updated preliminary cost estimate. The project report, you will develop a draft, and you will also develop the final project report. Deliverables, again, are at the bottom of the slide. And then task number 5, you will create the draft administrative ISEA. Then you're going to circulate it, get comments, and you're going to, again, create another one with the revisions addressed. And you're going to create the final ISEA. At this point, the PID estimates that we're going to have a negative declaration, mitigated negative declaration, and finding of no significance. But however, that is the purpose of the study, right? To tell us what it will entail. We project that it's going to be this, but depending on what the study says. And also, you're going to do a lot of public outreach to make sure that the document gets approved. With that, again, I want to mention addendum number 1 has been issued, where we, at the authority's option, we are going to allow the selected firm for this phase to do the PS&E phase. Wasn't part of the original RFP. And then also, as part of addendum number 1, we introduced the final PID document for you to have it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Abigail, and then I'll come back and do some closing statements.
Thanks, Ivan. Excuse me. As Ivan mentioned earlier, this RFP has a 19% DBE goal, which is pretty high. I mean, it's one of the higher ones that we've seen recently, but it's entirely doable. One of the things we help a lot of the pre-bid companies or people interested in submitting bids on any of these CCTA projects, what we help with the most is making sure that your commercially useful function and your work codes for the DBEs that you're using are correct, and that you get credit for them when you turn in your bid submission. Your good faith effort, same thing. It's the sincerity of how hard you try to engage the DBEs with what you submit. That's what CCTA will be looking for. Not necessarily the volume of documents, but rather how hard did you try to actually align what you're looking for with who's available to work on this project. CCTA will review all of your submissions, whether you met the goal and who you listed and their work codes and everything else, or the good faith effort, or both. We're a resource that CCTA offers to all of you to help with any kind of obstacles that you may encounter as you're working towards getting your bid package together and submitting it to Ivan and his team. So please feel free. I have cards, or you can email Ivan or Chris. If you have any questions about any of the DBE rules, or you're looking for a specific excuse me, scope of work, or you don't see how you can get to 19%, just call us or get a hold of Ivan. He'll connect you with us and we can help you guys to be successful on it. We think this is entirely doable as well. So we're here to help you with no strings attached from CCTA. So are we doing questions at the end?
Yeah, we'll do questions.
Okay.
So thank you, Abigail. And again, we cannot say enough good things about Abigail. All our DBE goals are fairly high, and we expect the proposals to meet those goals. And she's an incredible resource. We have been able to match. We had a construction management DBE goal of 25%, and they in fact exceeded it at 26%. So with that, there's some details here. You're gonna need 2 hard copies. The RFP gives directions as far as the electronic copies that we need. Brian Kelleher is the administrator of receiving the RFPs. We have a limit of 30 pages. And the scoring, it's on the RFP as well, but qualifications are 30 points. Proposed staff in project organization is 40 points. Work plan is 30 points. As far as the work plan is concerned, schedule is really important. We want to get this work done as soon as it's feasibly possible, with all the right assumptions in place, of course. So that's going to be really important as we evaluate the proposals. And with that, I don't have any more to say. There's plenty of us here to answer any questions, including Tim, Abigail, myself. So, and there's a sign that is going around. So I'm open to questions.
Don't let this camera keep you from asking anything you want to know. They can probably turn it off, right?
Go ahead, Rebecca. So I'm gonna let Tim answer that, but I believe that is the case, in fact. So the question was whether we have an existing RFP 18-6 that is for the folks that are going to be helping us on the oversight for Innovate 680. If you win this one, will you be precluded from, or if you win that one, RFP 18-6, will you be precluded from pursuing additional work under the initiative? Yes, that's the answer is yes, you will be precluded. You will be conflicted out. Okay, one more question.
Okay, question. The strategic development contract is going to have specific disciplines like public outreach, traffic, et cetera. How will they interact with the public outreach on this, for instance?
Yeah, so it depends, right? I mean, when you're doing what we're doing here, and we go to get the approvals and take it to the public, that's going to be specific to this project. Innovate 680 is much bigger, and it includes many more phases. So I imagine there's going to be some that is going to be assigned to each contract. It's going to be also some interaction between the two. It's almost no different than right now in what we do. We have a specific contract, like in construction, for instance. We hire a PIO, but we also have people that help us on the oversight side to help us deliver the messages. I don't know if you want to add more to that, Tim.
So the traffic modeling operations discipline and the public engagement discipline that's part of 18-6, what's intended, those are corridor-wide disciplines. So the traffic modeling, what we're trying to achieve with that RFP is we're trying to have the traffic modeling done and just have one model for the entire project, and then that consultant would then prepare, as part of 18-6, that consultant will prepare the supporting traffic operation analysis reports for each of the projects, including this one, as part of this RFP. And that also goes with public engagement. So the public engagement, the way, if you read that discipline, all of the public outreach, including the technical outreach that supports the public meetings for this environmental document, would be done as part of that discipline. And the reason why was, again, for consistency across all the projects. So that way there's not, 6 different public outreach firms doing it 6 different ways. It's all being done consistently across all the projects.
Then with the traffic, typically on environmental lockup, that's the controlling, one of the control deliverables. And, is there any type of timeline that we can see, anything about when they would be on board and how they would be delivering their portion of it definitively draft environmental lockup?
Want me to take that? Or-
Yeah, take it.
So the traffic modeling consultant, so our game plan is to take this contract and all the other contracts as part of RFP 18-6 to our board in April, May timeframe. So all the contracts be executed at the same time. And the reason for that is to coordinate scope. So whoever gets selected for this RFP and whoever gets selected for RFP 18-6, we would coordinate the scopes and make sure everything's aligned before we take all the contracts to board, right? Then what will happen is those 2 consultants will then coordinate to develop the work program moving forward. So that answers your question.
Any more questions? Okay, well, again, thank you for coming. We look forward to receiving your proposals, and we'll move forward from there. Thank you.